So the box office success of the Super Mario Bros. Movie is blowing up everyone's expectations to a point in which is like massive. Like, it is really big if you're a Nintendo fan right now, because you're seeing a movie that you've probably waited how many years for them to finally get it right and actually make a movie that is serviceable and really delivers into what we're expecting, and at the end of the day, this movie, not only did it blow up the expectations of a lot of people, but it also broke records in its opening weekend. And that's what I want to talk to you guys today about, because there's a disconnect between the critics and moviegoers, and it's really going to show you exactly what it is that, why movies need to start taking a little bit more approach like this in comparison to some of the stuff that's been coming out lately. So let's get into this. Now, before I get started about this, I do want to thank those of you who have been watching the channel recently. I've decided to make a lot more content on this channel. I've decided to change it from RodimusPrimal Talks to RodimusPrimal Rants and Reviews, because I think it kind of, matches the name a little bit better as to what I want to do with the channel. I do want to make reviews. I do want to make, rants, and I do want to talk about all of this geek and nerdy stuff. And on top of that, I know some of you have been really waiting for me to get on top of Thundercats and Godzilla. Those are the two franchises that those of you who have been waiting for me to talk about. I do intend to make videos of them. I am working currently also with my main channel, which is a very large channel, RodimusPrimal. But this one in particular, I am trying to get it monetized as well. So I'm trying to make a lot more content and try to talk about this stuff and just really share my nerdy thoughts whenever I get the opportunity to. When a lot of these stories come out and you hear about stuff and you're wondering whether or not these movies are any good, or whether or not, like, any geeky, nerdy stuff. Like, I like talking about Star Wars. Well, did like talking about Star Wars. Star Wars disconnected me from a lot of stuff. And, Transformers, the live action films, just really have, there's a disconnect between me being an older fan and the Transformers franchise when it comes down to the live action films, which is why I probably resonated so much with this Mario movie. With Thundercats, I want to feel like the same thing. Like, there is that disconnect from the audience and from what the studios are doing and what they're making, what have you. And I want to talk about it all here, which is why I'm going to make more videos on this channel about this stuff. And yes, I still intend to make that Thundercats presentation that I'm working on, and I'm looking deep into, and I'm also bringing up my Godzilla films and starting to watch them over again, so this way I can give some time to really think about them and bring them back to the forefront. Now, if you saw my last video, I had just come back from the theater. I didn't want to give you any spoilers to the movie. My family, we just had a great time watching the Super Mario Bros. Movie. And that's the thing about this Mario movie, is that it's smashing records like no other, with a Mario stomp, basically. And, Variety here is quite literally saying it's a blockbuster. Dropping $204 million domestically with a $377 million global debut over the long Easter weekend. It opened up Wednesday? And it broke, tons of records. Now, it hasn't even yet opened up in certain Asian markets. It hasn't opened up in Japan, which is going to be like a massive audience, I'm sure, and a lot of people are going to see it because, come on, we love Mario. And, some of Universal's biggest franchises, Jurassic World, Dominion. The box office just keeps growing and growing. The film cost Illumination roughly $100 million to bring the big screen, thrived as the de facto choice among family crowds who have been starved of compelling theatrical offerings since Puss in Boots, they say, right? But the kid-friendly film also managed to expand its reach beyond parents with young ones, thanks to the heaping dose of nostalgia and positive word of mouth reviews, which I will get into, Mario turned into a 4-quadrant blockbuster resonating with males and females, young and old, who grew up with Mario, Luigi, and the inhabitants of the fantastical Mushroom Kingdom. The film is is based on the incredible IP, beloved by people from different generations. Yeah. And that's because Mario is adapted, like I said, from the big time, it's a big franchise for anybody who plays video games. If you've played video games, you know who Mario is, and you're going to do your part in playing those games, because the games are fun. I mean, I enjoy them with my kids. It's a fun time. And the movie the 93 movie came out, and I remember seeing that opening weekend, and I hated it. It's kind of funny that they're bringing it up here, right? The 93 movie was so bad. And it has so cheesy moments that if you remove yourself from the movie being Mario, maybe you can watch it in that respect, like the stupid jokes like Ba-Bomb, and it was just, the Mario movie in 93 was awful, right? And John Leguizamo himself apparently said he's not gonna watch the Mario movie because of who they did or didn't cast. Like, get out of here, man. Get out of here. You're sitting here trying to like lambast a movie because you didn't get to make an appearance, and a lot of the people that are in the movie, many of them, they give phenomenal performances. I know some people are getting kind of had their ups and downs about Chris Pratt. You kind of like overlooked that, and you had Anna Taylor-Joy as Princess Peach and Jack Black as Bowser. Now, I want to make mention here about Princess Peach because some people had worry and issue about Peach in the movie, and I'm touching on this hoping that I'm not like spoiling it for you, for those of you who haven't seen it, because really, honestly, like if you're a Mario fan, go see it somehow. But I want to say, like, the way that they handle her in the movie is that she does exactly what she needs to do for the storyline, and understanding that she grew up in the Mushroom Kingdom and all the fantastical stuff that the Toads are doing, she's basically lived around it her whole life. So it's kind of like second nature. Whereas Mario they gave this really good message with Mario, is that he's someone who just doesn't quit. We need that in movies. A positive male role model who just doesn't quit, who cares about his family. He wants his dad to see good in him. I would say the same thing about Donkey Kong. There's a moment there, and that is the thing about the character. And Peach at the same time is egging him on, like, no, Mario, you're going to end up being the hero. And Nintendo had a good hands-on to ensure that their characters were handled with care and done extremely well. So let's take a look at some of the things that this movie broke. It's the highest grossing debut of 2023, surpassing Ant-Man and the Wasp, which that's pretty bad numbers, if you ask me. Biggest 5-day opening of all time, overtaking Transformers Revenge of the Fallen. And it's the highest grossing debut for Illumination, beating 2015's Minions, and its 3-day opening weekend of 115 million. Second biggest debut ever for an animated movie, outpacing Finding Dory. The only thing that's still got a better, bigger opening was Incredibles 2. And highest grossing debut for a video game adaptation, even outranking Sonic the Hedgehog 2, which I've seen the first Sonic. I've not seen the second Sonic. I do need to actually take the time to watch that. But the biggest opening of 2023, for international, second biggest of all time behind Frozen 2. That's big numbers. That's big numbers. Biggest Illumination, biggest video game opening of all time. And looking at this, critically, this movie is getting beaten up by the critics. You look at the 56% Rotten score. They look at this movie like it's trash. They do. And the 96% audience score is because, and the fact that it's such a big opening and that 96% of people who watched it loved it, enjoyed it, had a great time. It's a kids movie. Like, you can go with your kids, enjoy it. Like, there's nothing negative for taking your family to go see this kind of movie. And the audiences are loving it. Now, I can't say the same thing about the other movie that, that broke the record for, Transformers Revenge of the Fallen, right? Not as many audiences loved that movie. They love this one. 90 minutes long, and, or 92 minutes. There's 2 end credit scenes, and I gave a review already for it, but but the thing was, is that was like my first response. This, I'm looking at it now after the fact, after the weekend, now after so many people have seen it. And the reviews, I decided to actually go ahead and listen to some of the reviews. And you got to scratch your head and you got to go, like, what is so out of touch about these critics? And I had to really honestly think about some of the things that they said in their reviews. It's quite clear that the people who review a lot of these films do not play video games. They do not like Nintendo. They don't like, they could be paid off by Disney. And I'm looking at this movie objectively and thinking about it and going, man, this is such a good movie. Like, it was so much fun to sit back and watch this. And you know what's funny too, because I want to make mention of one particular, I won't even mention this one particular reviewer by name, but the reviewer mentioned that it was more important to have media access and go to parties and spend time with our media friends than enjoy a kids movie. And they didn't want the entertainment to be enjoyed by kids. Now, I took my kids and they sat, alongside my wife and I, and they just were smiling ear to ear. They were so excited about pretty much everything. There was not a single dull moment for them. And when you watch some movies, like I'll give this this movie in particular, like if I was to say like what would make this movie better, would be like an extra maybe 10 minutes tops, just to like bridge some of the gap of some of the storytelling. But kids movies are brought down to around 90 minutes for the sheer fact that kids have a certain type of attention span. And so a lot of scenes could get cut. And I'm wondering what those cut scenes are that came out of the movie, because I would love to see them in this. And seeing the 56%, audience score, they don't talk about any of that stuff because they're not fans of Nintendo. They even say, well, if you're like, some of the negative reviews even say, if you're in Nintendo, you'll love it, but this is a garbage movie. Like that is their review. But the audiences have a complete disconnect. And what it tells you is that many of these critics really should not be listened to or given any, there's no tread under their tires anymore for the type of reviews, because they don't enjoy fun. They don't enjoy video games. In fact, some of them even go to reviews for anything to do with video games. Oh, I gotta watch this stupid video game, movie. That is their attitude when they go to watch these movies. So, with that said, I'll say it again. This movie is breaking box office records. I'm very happy about that. There are certain things in the movie that I do wish were just a little bit different, maybe a little bit, could have been tweaked. But man, is it just a fun time? Go see it. But I want to know what you guys think about this. What do you think about critic reviews? What do you think about the box office record? Of course, leave your thoughts in the comment section below. Be sure to thumbs up this video and subscribe. Check out my other videos as well. I have more coming down the pipeline, so stay tuned for all that. And as always, guys, until next time, till all are one.